All right, I want to give you guys a little bit of information on your parking brakes. This is a Gladiator with a 6-speed manual. So a lot of you guys with the automatics will never, hardly ever set the parking brake, but us with the third pedal kind of rely on the parking brake. Sorry about my voice, just getting over something. What I found on YouTube is when the parking brake starts to fail, everybody directs you to adjust the cable between the passenger and driver's seat up in the front and under the center console. Yes, there is slack adjustment in those cables up front there, but after a while you're going to run out of slack adjustment in there. And I looked and looked and looked and could not find a definite answer on where else there is an adjustment or how the whole system works, so I wanted to give a little bit of a lowdown on how that worked. It's not a very good design, but it does work. So what I found is I do off-road this truck, and I found a shit ton of mud up inside my rear brakes. So I'm gonna flip the camera around and I'll show you what I got. So I'm not gonna show you how to take these off. There's probably plenty of YouTube videos. Just remember, when you go to pull your rotor off, you should have a hex bolt on there, or a, what is that, Torx bit. Pull that Torx bit out before you start trying to pull this off. It is gonna stick on there, so pull your brake. You're gonna blow your brake caliper off. I just set mine up here on the axle. You don't have to disconnect it. Pull the brake bracket off. When you pull this all apart, I did not replace my brake pads, didn't need to, but they were jam-packed full of mud. They probably weren't even working that well. So make sure you clean that. So once you pull that and that off, you'll have access to the inside of the drum. This is where your parking brake is located. It actually actuates on the inside of your caliper. There's a drum inside here. So one of the poor designs that they have with this is there's actually an adjustment inside your brake caliper. Let's see if we can get this. See that down in there? Just like any drum brake, let me get my screwdriver. You can turn this adjustment here, spin it out, and that will force the shoes wider. Over here is the adjustment, or this is what actuates the brake. It's on a cable that runs. See the cable there? This is the adjustment. As that cable pulls, it spreads this apart, actuates the shoes out. This is the adjustment, okay? So to set this adjustment, again, I didn't even replace these. I don't think I'm going to need to. What you can do, I took some sandpaper, scuffed this up very well. Came inside here, scuffed this up, cleaned all the mud out of inside of this. Take your air gun, blow all the shit out from inside of this brake drum. This is all gonna be packed with crud. You can see it laying on the ground here, both sides. Clean this surface up pretty good. This is where your brake drum, or sorry, the rotor is gonna get hung up on this surface here. It's always good, every time you take this off, clean this up really nice and shiny. Here in Ohio, these things love to stick. Once you do that, you're gonna start adjusting this, and you're gonna lubricate some of these components just a tiny bit. I just took a little bit of PB Blaster and put inside here just to get these things freed up. The next thing you're gonna need to do to get these adjusted properly, up inside between the passenger and driver's seat in the console, that adjustment, slack adjustment that you were tightening up, you need to loosen that all the way up. One mistake I made is I came in here and I adjusted this, but I did not loosen that back up under the center console. What you'll find is you'll start running out of adjustment. It won't want to grab still. So loosen that all the way up in there. That's going to allow this cable to retract all the way. You're going to loosen this up in here. You're going to get all the mud and junk out of here. You're going to get everything actuating very good. And then you're going to set this adjustment again. As you put the rotor back over top of this, it is okay to have a little bit of drag. When you put this up, you want it to be a little bit tight. Oh, there is a window to adjust this with the brake on. So let me show you this window. If you look around in the back, right here, it's like an inspection window. that you would see on a drum set. If you pull this off, this inspection window, you can actually get a screwdriver in here to adjust this. You could actually do that while the wheel is on. Or the intentions are you could do that while the wheel is on. You could jack the truck up and get inside here and adjust this parking brake. The problem is when Jeep put this bracket, this bracket goes right over top of the inspection window. So there's no way to get that rubber seal out to get inside it. You could never get into it. The only way to adjust this is to come in here, pull the wheel off, pull all this apart, and adjust this manually. This should have been an automatic adjustment in here, or made this accessible without pulling the wheel off. Whatever, it is what it is. So when you come inside here, also take a good look. This is for your ABS. And oh, I'm glad I saw this. So what's holding these shoes on, see this clip right here? I gotta fix this. Your shoes are held on with this clip, just like any brake shoe setup. So this clip, it's just jammed in here. This clip, sorry, get it out. Well, it fell. This clip goes on a pin. There should be a pin that comes through here, and then that clip captures on that pin. That pin goes through the, what do they call this, the dust shield. That keeps that brake shoe from falling out or pulling off. See the rod right there? Right there. So this will push up, you push this rod through, it's flopping around underneath. If you need to replace these. I actually didn't need to replace these. There's plenty of meat on these. You got to remember, these don't actually do the braking. Your shoes do. This just holds. Now, if you pulled away and you left your parking brake on, you may have wore this down to the point where you're on metal. That's how you would get these shoes off. You pull it apart, pop these springs off on either side, and they'll just come right out. So you'll do both sides, tighten it back up, and then when you put everything together, you may have to still adjust in the center console. You'll tighten it back up. But I noticed that my mechanism here was pretty seized up, and this is only, what, a 3-year-old truck at this point. So that's something to keep in mind. Once you get all this freed up, put everything back together, then you can pull the slack from under the console.